from Moxie. I just went over some TT bars and now I'm gonna go over doing a road bike, and I'm gonna get a real tricky with it and get this finishing tape half as wide as it normally is to have as minimal finishing tape as possible. So I'm gonna start off by cutting this in half. Got my Park spoke ruler. It's also a decent straight edge. And this finishing tape has a center line, so I'm just gonna line this up real nice like. And with a fresh razor blade, I'm just gonna cut along the straight edge. Boom. Now I have 2 pieces of super thin finishing tape. I also just did that with some electrical tape as well to do under the finishing tape when I'm done. So what I'm gonna do is go face to face with our tape, especially if we have a pattern, and I'm gonna line up these stars or whatever the pattern may be, words, doesn't matter. I wanna line it up, and then I'm gonna cut from the logo side in to get my nice smooth start, and this ensures that both sides start symmetrically the same. Also doing this, the wrap is going to bow inward or angle inward to give it that nice mirrored or symmetrical look. So I split them apart. I'm going to use this side for the left, so we're going to put it to the side. Peel off my backing. And I'm going to start. We're going to start from the bottom and finish on the top. What I'm going to do right here is make note of this star and where I want it to start so I can try to line them up the best as possible for the next time. What I'm going to do is just put this down and start, and that star looks like it's going to start at the 2 o'clock position. And so I'm just going to start and just start making the spacing even. Find that center line, and I'm going to go just a little bit over, and I'm just going to continue to wrap it up with a little tension. Now, seek the packaging of your bar tape manufacturer on what type of tension to apply. The Supacast, just a little bit. Taunt, just a little snug. I know Lizard Skins and Silka is also the same. I know that some leather tapes, synth leather tapes, and other brands that are cotton based, you got to put a lot of muscle behind them, so just consult the bar wrap, the bar manufacturer. Now I'm coming up, and I'm getting to around here, and I want to check the spacing on the bottom here as I'm coming up. This looks nice and uniform, I'm pretty stoked on it. But sometimes if the gap is pretty big here, it'll start to separate, especially under some torque. So we want to make sure that we have a good overlap to keep it from unraveling. Now I'm here. Some people may notice that they use the little insert. I do not. What I'm gonna do is do this over-under kind of like 8 symbol. It's kind of hard to explain, but it'll show a crisscross when I'm finished. So I'm coming around and I have just a little bit more than a tape gap. So I'm going to do one last wrap, nice and snug, and I'm going to go under the hood and then over like so, and then back down under and cap this gap right here, nice and taut, and then I'm going to cap it under. And this is going to pop up from the bottom, mind you. I'm not going over, I'm going under, and it's going to pop me out right here. Now if we look at it from the back, right here, you're going to see a perfect crisscross. So an X and then another X right there. And then we're going to come through, and we're going to go over the top, and that lines us up perfect to have the pattern exposed all the way through, going the same direction. Then I'm just going to kind of work it around, making sure that we have a great uniform overlap. Some people like to wrap them a little closer together to give it more of a texture for your fingers. Some people like to wrap it really far apart. It's really all up to you. And then I'm going to come through, keeping it uniform all the way down, and now I'm here. I'm gonna wrap her bars before the taper, and I'm going to give it a nice cut, and now here's what we're doing. This is what I like to refer as the hard line. That's going to be the finishing line, and this is going to be our cut line, and I'm going to make this really gradual. So then, when I come all the way around, and I'm in it, it's going to just seamlessly line up and just disappear into itself. And now I'm going to get this pre-cut electrical tape that's pre-slimmed. A little tricky. And I'm going to just get that edge, and I'm going to do it nice and tight. Now, electrical tape doesn't work good as a finishing tape because most of them, the adhesive is affected by UV rays. So you ride out in the sun, that's why it gets gummy and nasty, and that's why a finishing tape is typically better. If you don't have finishing tape, I recommend the ESI or SE silicone tape. It works amazing since it doesn't have any adhesive at all and it just sticks to itself. So now I have that pre-cut Supercaz tape, and boom, I have a little bit of excess on the bottom. I'm just gonna cut it so you don't see the seam. It's just gonna boop, boop, right there. Nice and tight and snug. There's your clean line right there. Minimalist as well. I'm gonna be doing the other side here. It's pretty simple. It's gonna be just as straightforward as that side was. The only thing I'm gonna try to make note of is timing or lining up this star so that our pattern is relatively the same. So I mentioned on that side before, it was at the 2 o'clock position. So I'm gonna put this one at the 10 o'clock position to give it the same mirrored image. And so what I'm gonna do is roll this around and make sure it's tight. Here we are at the 10 o'clock position, and we should get a very symmetrical wrap going.